So I'm here to talk about a teaser people were sharing from the expo thing, whatever, with Jax staring at Ribbit's door with no X on Ribbit's door, by the way, meaning this is 100% gonna be some type of flashback episode. Lock in. So the funny part about this is I actually had recorded way back when I was doing episode 8 storyboards how I think Ribbit and Jax would maybe be brought up in this kind of situation. Now, I don't know if I actually took inspiration from someone on this or not, because I might have on accident. I do heavily mess with the idea that Jax would have encountered Ribbit abstraction by going to their room, knocking on the door, opening up the door, and seeing Ribbit abstracting. I also really like the idea that, some people theorize that that's why Jax got into the whole keys thing, which would, totally make sense. It would give Jax, that more control, essentially. But I do kind of like the idea that maybe Jax was kind of a control freak at that point, so he had a key ready to, get into Ribbit's room. And then I also like the idea that Ragatha and Kaufmo show up around the same time. This would kind of go hand in hand with the, Pomni and Ragatha talk about Ribbit's storyboard idea. I'm just gonna play the audio, whatever audio I had recorded from that. This was pre-episode 8, so do with that what you will. But I'm just gonna play that. I'm realizing in real time the storyboard concept of Pomni and Jax. Stop! There is no shot that I call that Jax wants to go away and Pomni joins him and they stop at the door and he stares at Ribbit's door. Oh! Stop! I am having ideas. Stop. Okay, sorry that I'm peeking the mic. How I have it in the storyboard would be we look at Jax and then it shifts to in the past where the door is open and it's bright from the back but dark in the front. So we don't really see Jax's face, but we do see his big yellow eyes. But could you imagine if it was that kind of flashback but with Ribbit's door? We see Ribbit's door with the X on it and Jax's shadow over it, but then it flashes back to when the door doesn't have the X over it and Ribbit wasn't abstracted and Jax is oh my gosh. That won't happen, right? That won't happen, right? Oh my gosh. If I call that crap, I'm gonna probably lose it. I'm straight up. Okay, regardless if Pomni's even there or not, if I just call that kind of, tone shift happening, and better yet, if I call that, Jax straight up has a panic attack from it, because I think even in the original idea that I had, this is before, I was gonna listen to the audio, and then I just had a freak out moment. I think in the sequence, in the flashback sequence or whatever, I do have some sort of Jax panic attack in there, and it's gonna be insane if that happens again. I mean, obviously, Jax is, legally has to do one panic attack per episode now, but oh, wow. But anyways, I'm gonna listen to the audio now. New theory video about the Ribbit flashback with actual dialogue, because for some odd reason, you guys translated me not having that as I don't think we're gonna get that. Rambles for later like an insane person, because I know all of you are instantly gonna click off the video the moment the storyboard segment's over. This could take place any part of the episode. It could take place right at the beginning of the episode, maybe before the Pomni talk with Ragatha. We're gonna go with that because I had already started storyboarding it before I thought through anything. So we're just gonna roll with what I had. We see Jax staring at Ribbit's door, clearly lost in thought, possibly looking disturbed or frightened or something or other, clearly remembering something. And this is where we get a flashback. I am not gonna sit here and add my commentary through that. That's gonna be way too much work for me.
Jax. Jax, help me!
Ah! Jax is gonna snap back into reality, maybe kind of smack his face or shake his face, kind of trying to ground himself back into reality. And he'll look and he'll see Pomni starting to walk down the hall, and he will panickingly run away and turn that corner. And then we'll lead into the Pomni and Ragatha segment, where Yeah, you guys probably already know about that, and if you don't, I will link the video in the description, blah blah blah.
Rambling time!
First, Gooseworks is the one that tells lies! Gooseworks has canonically lied before. I do not think it is beneath her to lie again about something like this. Second of all, I do not think we're gonna get much beyond what I had in the Pomni and Ragatha theory video. However, I do not think we won't get possibly Ribbit dialogue or Coffin dialogue. That is entirely possible. I just didn't want to include it in that video because I was lazy. I didn't really want to sit there and think about like what kind of dialogue dynamic are we gonna have here, and I didn't think my voices were distinct enough to do that. I'm going to be for real with you. Apparently my voices are distinct enough for you guys to accuse me of being Lizzie Freeman and Amanda Hufford and stealing Kane clips from the actual show. That's a surprise to me. But anyways, I don't think we're gonna get much anyways because the show is focused on the now and the main characters, and anything from the past is how it affects the main characters now. So if we're gonna get flashbacks, we're going to get flashbacks that apply to how it affects them now. So despite all my theories, despite all my guesses, I think the main thing that is going to be kind of like the premise of episode 8 is that episode 8 is going to be tying up a bunch of loose ends and kind of clarifying different things and confirming, denying theories, etc., setting up for whatever they have planned for episode 9. So I think episode 8 will clear up on different things like Jack's lore, Kingar lore, Kane lore. Like, we're going to get all of the pieces of the puzzle and then watch those pieces come into play in episode 9. And it's very highly likely that this actually, both of these things come into play through episode 8 and 9 together. Just a theory. A game theory. Or film theory, I guess. I am the prophet! What? Oh my gosh. How did I call that these chains of events were going to be through episode 8 and 9? Like, I wasn't completely fully right. Like, some of that was, like, so close I almost had it. But a lot of that was, like, I understood how the setting up was gonna happen, just in a really bad way. Because I thought it was gonna be Kane stuff in the... I can't believe I have this audio! Oh. Anyways, I'm sorry I keep getting loud. But anyways, I think, okay, one thing that I would change is that we're 100% going to get a lot, like, the lore thing is going to be stretched out through several episodes, through episode 8 and 9, and we are definitely getting a lot more Jack's lore. That is, like, the most continually advertised things so far. Despite how little we've seen, that just feels like the most, like, yes, TADC fans, you are getting the Jack's lore. So that's going to be interesting. Ribbit's definitely going to be brought up a lot more. Probably, if I had to take a guess, probably throughout the episode. I don't think they just have, like, a big chunk of flashback. I think this would be throughout the episode, kind of sprinkled in with other stuff, because that just seems weird to just have like one segment where it's just like, oh yeah, here's all the Ribbit lore and please give me Kaufmo glitch, you're scaring me, please. Which he seems like he's semi-important, more so than not, so we'll probably also get Kaufmo, please. I didn't really plan on recording this, I just was already back here recording something else, and it was something so quick that I didn't want to just I wanted to justify my time back here. I just wanted to kind of briefly ramble, and this gives me an excuse to bring back an old storyboard, which I need to post all of that, like, BTS stuff. I will probably hopefully get to, especially before my break, because I'm 100% going to take a break. I cannot. It's definitely needed. I'm definitely burning out. I can actually feel it. So yeah, that is it. More Ribbit, but I think they're gonna balance it pretty well. I don't think it's just gonna be the Ribbit episode. Ribbit's gonna be sprinkled in with all that, and Kaufmo will be sprinkled in with all that. All of Jax's trauma will be sprinkled in with all that, as they're trying to figure out whatever, if there's any sort of... See, the thing is, it's kind of gonna entirely depend on if there is a fixing the circus narrative or escaping the circus narrative or something of the like, which I don't think there's gonna be an escape the circus narrative. I think Soma Theory is real. Sorry, guys. There's just no way. They're just tying up that loose end of, like, escaping the circus. They've tied that up in episode 8. So some theory is real. Kane's gone, so they don't have adventures anymore. I feel like the manipulating of the world thing probably left with Kane. And then Jax saying, "Now we have nothing," is probably relating to the fact that Kane is gone and they don't have any adventures anymore. And then they can't fix the circus. If I had to take a guess, they can't fix the circus. They are literally in a digital hellscape. There's no way out, there's no adventures, there's nothing new, there's nothing exciting. They have to find meaning with each other, which would feed into the themes of the show. And obviously that's going to make Jax just go insane. Because his whole coping mechanisms, every single coping mechanism this poor soul had, it just was evaporated in 12 hours? Oh gosh. Probably less than that, but yeah. The ending's probably just going to be about just finding, not necessarily finding meaning in a stagnant life, but just finding meaning with the relationships that they have and, making the most of it, making the most of their life. Which I guess is ultimately finding meaning in a stagnant life, but that is genuinely just going to depend on, what else is going on. Because if they can kind of fix the circus, if they, if the Seth theory is true, if you will, that there's going to be a third AI that kind of takes the place of Kane, that's kind of a whole ordeal that I think I briefly mentioned in a YouTube post. If so, then it'll appear on screen. This is a reminder for me in the future. But the general concept is, if Kane was kind of an amalgamation of Cain and Abel, the AIs, the red and blue AI, then naturally there is another AI that is going to come in and take its place, being the yellow AI. Because there's a lot of red and blue and yellow imagery that kind of goes on in the show. But I don't know. I don't know.